Our senior correspondent, Mike Tobin, is on the ground in Kerrville. He has the latest for us there. Mike.
And, John, certainly one of the messages that we got out of that press conference from Secretary Noem is that the people out here trying to recover from this devastating flood, that they're not alone, that disaster declaration is going to be sent to President Trump, and he is anticipated to be in agreement with it. So it looks like more resources will come the way of these people. One thing I can show you now, just looking around where I'm standing, is just the incredible power of this storm. I'm down in the river basin at this moment. This area where I'm standing was all covered in water when this flood came through here, almost like a wave. And you can see all of this debris. The structure shelter that I'm standing in obviously had tremendous construction. It looks like these pilings went all the way into the ground, anchored in concrete. So this building didn't move, but the trees all got caught up in here because this place stood steady. If you look at the tree right in front of me, it was about 1.5 feet, 2 feet thick, and it was just ripped right out of the ground. And to give you an idea, as we continue to look around, the highway is about 15 feet above my head in this location, and we go 15 feet down. That is the Guadalupe River, where you can see so much debris is piled up on the banks of the Guadalupe itself. The river looks calm right now. You have people back out walking along the banks. It's hard to imagine so much destruction rolled through here so rapidly. And one of the things we do see as we stand around are the helicopters coming in overhead, conducting searches along the banks, as you heard them say in the press conference, hoping that they can find some survivors, victims of this storm who are still clinging to life. One of the things I know right now is that it's warm out here. If it's warm, people have a better chance of living longer. They don't succumb to hypothermia because of the warm climate. And we also know that the warm atmosphere. We also know that they have people on the ground, boots on the ground, as the county officials have said, searching along the banks of the river, aided by local information, people who know where the debris piles up when the floods come through. John?
Mike, we heard from Congressman Chip Roy that, especially regarding that girls' Christian camp that was so badly devastated by this storm, he said that some people gave their lives trying to rescue some of the kids from that camp. Do you know any of those stories specifically? I know it's still early in this terrible event.
I've heard more than one story now of people who went in to save others, and qualified swimmers, strong swimmers, who went into the floodwaters trying to save other people, and they didn't come out, John.
Wow. So again, the number's 32 dead, 14 of them children. And the governor of the state of Texas is asking people to continue to pray. We were told that the president is praying for the people of Kerrville, Texas, which is in the hill country, a little bit northwest of San Antonio and southwest of Austin. Kerrville, not a big city, but wow, they are going to have just an awful lot to deal with. As you look at this footage here, and as the search goes on, they are hopeful of finding more survivors, because that water threw so many people into so many trees and such a rough area. They're hopeful that they still might be able to find survivors. You say, Mike, there are more than 800 rescues that have already taken place.
800 rescues that have already taken place. And what we're hearing, as far as a lot of the people who are rescued, are people who were able to get to some high ground. And they may have been stranded because as they got to high ground, any roads that would lead up to where they were destroyed. So as of this morning, we heard a lot of stories of people who were stranded, and they had water and food airdropped to them while the effort was made today to get some of those people out. We didn't hear from this update exactly how many of those people were rescued, just that broad number, 800 plus people who were rescued in different situations. And we saw some of those dramatic rescues in which the Coast Guard Dolphin helicopter was involved, and they had the ability to drop a cable down and hoist people up from some of these rough areas. And one of the things that's going to slow people down as they're searching on foot out here is simply the fact that you do have rough terrain here in the Texas Hill Country, and all of that is now complicated by all the debris that has been caught on what you will have that's in these rough areas, all the debris that gets caught. And it's difficult for these people who are now searching to get through that area and find somebody. And they could very well search an area and miss something that is buried underneath the debris. So it's going to take several searches, John.
Mike, stay with us. Of course, when a situation like this takes place, people are looking for answers. They're sometimes looking for someone to blame. There was a question asked of the Homeland Security Secretary as to whether or not, there should have been more warning for this devastating flood in the Guadalupe River Valley. Here's what Kristi Noem had to say in her answer.
My background is, before I was in the secretary position here under the Trump administration, I was governor of South Dakota and served in Congress for 8 years before I was governor. And so I will tell you that for decades, for years, everybody knows that the weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office, that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many years, and that is the reforms that are ongoing there. The timeline that I have, I don't oversee the National Weather Service, that's not under my department, but the timeline that I did receive from them was that the notifications started to look at its expansion for its limited flood impacts area that started on July 3rd at 1:18 p.m. The flood watch was issued. Although it was moderate, it wasn't to the extremes that it was, that when the system came over the area that it stalled, it was much more water, much like I think we experienced during Harvey. Exactly. The same type of system that was unpredictable in the way that it reacted and the way that it stopped right here and dumped unprecedented amounts of rain that caused a flooding event like this.
That's Secretary Kristi Noem of the Department of Homeland Security. Mike, there probably couldn't have been a worse weekend for something like this to hit. It's a holiday weekend, and a lot of people are probably vacationing or, camping out along the river there.
Well, the hill country here is known for the wineries, the breweries, the live music, and it's a weekend getaway for a lot of people. And one of the ways you can do that on the cheap is to camp alongside of the river. There are a lot of Airbnbs, there are a lot of small hotels in the area. So one of the things that was brought up in an earlier briefing is the fact that it's impossible to tell just how many people are here and how many people haven't made it back to where they came from, Dallas or Austin or wherever they would be vacationing from. So you very well may start to get more missing persons reports as they don't show up from the holiday weekend, but also as they start to search the area for people who have been impacted by this flood. You could very well find more flooding victims. And one other thing that Secretary Noem brought up there was the early warning systems. We really have differing accounts. Judge Kelly, who was the top elected official here in Kerr County, said there was no early warning systems, despite the fact that devastating floods and deadly floods have rolled through here before. He said there was no early warning systems. We talked with some of the locals out here who said they did get early warning systems. They came to their cell phones, but they came too late. And one of the things I can tell you, just coming back from Israel with all the missile strikes, the way they have their cell phone warnings built in, it's impossible to ignore. John?
All right, Mike Tobin reporting live from the banks of the Guadalupe River. Mike, thank you.